This week we turn to number 9 in our series on the book of Joshua, Lessons of Faith from Joshua, Heirs of Promises, Prisoners of Hope. Prisoners of Hope, of course, from the book of Zechariah, prisoners who have hope. And that's describing who we are, heirs of the promise too, the promise that God has made through the generations, through the ages to his people, and we look forward to the fulfillment of all the promises. Some are past, some are still future. This is the story of God appearing to Joshua. It's there in Joshua chapter 13. Many years had passed by, and Joshua had grown old. The Lord spoke to him, saying, "You're now an old man, but there's still a great deal of land still to be taken." And you go, really? That's not what an old man really wants to hear. There's a lot there, and he spells it all out, and there's more to do. And Joshua probably is thinking, oh my goodness, here we go again. But there in verse 6, see what God says. "I myself will drive them out ahead of the Israelites," the other nations of Canaan. "I myself will drive them out." And I think that was God's plan all along. It wasn't supposed to be the Israelites going and doing it for themselves and therefore taking credit for it. It was God doing it for the Israelites. And here we see what the promises really are. They're based on the trustworthiness and the faithfulness of God. That is the heart of what we see here. And the rest of the chapter is just dealing with how things were allocated, how Joshua divided the land up in accordance with God's plan, and the different tribes had their allocation. It's written down here very precisely because it was so important for the people of the time. They wanted to be able to refer back, and it was there in the book. And this is what we are told we are to inherit, and you can't argue if there's a issue over who has what. Here we have it. It's written down. It's almost like a contract or something, isn't it? This is what God has said. This is where we are supposed to be. You're here, we're here, and that's all settled. We are heirs of the promise because we also are given an allocation, if you like, in the promised land. And we don't look for a city whose builder and maker is anyone but God. And that's where we look to be, New Jerusalem, to be there with the Lord in heaven, and then to descend to be living here on the earth. You know, many people, many Christians believe that you spend all your time in heaven. No, that's not what Scripture says. It talks about God living with his people in New Jerusalem on the new earth. And there's the promise for us. So as we think of Joshua, the Israelites, and what they had to look forward to as heirs of the promises of God from all the way back to Adam and Eve, but especially in their case to Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and all the patriarchs, they had something to hold on to and to think about what God had promised to their forefathers. And here it's being fulfilled in the time of Joshua, and the people can celebrate. Of course, we know that later on things fell apart, and unfortunately all too quickly when you get to the next book, the book of Judges. And then on down to the time of Isaiah, who's complaining bitterly, the people just going through the motions. They don't really love God. They don't really do anything to get to know him. They just do what's required in terms of the worship demands, if you can put it that way, and they get on with their own lives and don't even think about what God would want them to be doing in terms of a relationship. And God says, "I'm sick and tired of your meaningless sacrifices." So yes, things go downhill after this, but right now they're coming into the promised land. They're receiving the promises. They are prisoners of hope. They've got that hope in them, and this is what drives them, you could put it that way. And it should be the same for us. We too are heirs of the promise of God, and we are also prisoners of hope. That hope that is in us, and we are told that we should always be ready to give a reason for the hope that is in us. that is the most important thing that we can be doing, to tell people about why we have this hope, because we believe in a God of hope. So let's think about that and how we can best share that with those around us.